For many years, the death penalty, also referred to as the capital punishment, has been the subject of intense debate. It is defined as the state-approved execution of a person as a punishment for a crime, usually a violent one such as murder. Opponents draw attention to the moral, societal, and practical issues surrounding it, while supporters argue that it deters crime and provides victims with justice. The death penalty's irreversible nature is one of its biggest problems. A wrongful conviction cannot be reversed once an execution has taken place. According to a 2014 study published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences by authors Gross, O'Brien, Hugh, and Kennedy, 4.1% of death row convicts in the U.S. were likely innocent. This concerning statistic highlights the danger of putting people to death who may later be proved not guilty. Wrongful executions are an extreme injustice since the death penalty is irreversible and cannot be changed. Significant racial and socioeconomic gaps are also linked to the death penalty. A 1983 study in the Journal of Criminal Law and Criminology by authors Baldus, Woodworth, and Pulaski state minorities and those from lower income backgrounds are disproportionately represented on death row. These discrepancies imply that the death sentence is applied differently depending on systematic prejudices. Wealthier defendants are less likely to be executed than those who must rely on overworked public defenders when they can afford excellent legal counsel. Financial burdens related to the death penalty are another issue. Research shows that execution is more expensive than life in prison, despite what people may believe. According to a 2011 study published in the Loyola of Los Angeles Law Review by authors Alarcon and Mitchell, the cost of prosecuting a capital case in California is far higher than that of non-capital cases because of the lengthy legal process, the need for expert testimony, and appeals. Taxpayers are burdened by the financial strains, which also take funds away from the programs that might otherwise assist rehabilitation and criminal prevention. Another concern is whether or not the death penalty works as a deterrent to crime. Although some supporters contend that it deters future crimes, there is insignificant scientific evidence to substantiate this assertion. There is no solid proof that the death penalty deters homicide more successfully than life in prison. This suggests that the death penalty may not achieve its main goal of lowering violent crime, raising questions about its justification. There are a number of underlying causes for the problems with the death penalty. The criminal justice system's structural flaws are one of the main causes. According to a study by the Innocence Project, about 70% of wrongful convictions overturned by DNA evidence were due to incorrect eyewitness identification. This draws attention to a serious flaw in the evidence-gathering procedure that, in capital cases, can mean the difference between life and death. Additionally, racial bias contributes to the issues surrounding the death penalty. According to studies, those found guilty of killing white victims are more likely to be executed than those found guilty of killing Black or Hispanic victims. States with a history of racial violence are more likely to apply the death penalty, according to a thorough analysis published in 2002 by authors Jacobs and Carmichael in the American Journal of Sociology. This finding reflects fundamental racial biases that continue to exist in legal systems. These prejudices weaken the fairness of the death penalty and fuel public skepticism about the legal system. The quality of legal representation is the main reason why the death penalty disproportionately affects those who are economically disadvantaged. Defendants in capital prosecutions are frequently represented by public defenders who may be overworked and underfunded. They are unable to mount a strong defense as a result. Poor defendants are often assigned lawyers with little expertise in capital trials, which increases the possibility of wrongful convictions. The death penalty is also upheld by political and cultural factors. Politicians in certain jurisdictions use the public's fear of crime to win support for harsh anti-crime laws, such as the death penalty. Even in cases when research does not support the effectiveness of these rules as deterrents, they can nonetheless become deeply embedded in the legal system. The continuous application of the death penalty is sometimes motivated more by political gain and public opinion than by morality or good legal reasons. A diversified strategy is needed to address the problems surrounding the death penalty. Increasing the use of DNA evidence and other scientific techniques in capital cases is one way to solve the problem. Wrongful convictions can be decreased by making sure that only cases with indisputable evidence move forward to the death sentence stage. Requiring DNA testing and other stricter criteria for evidence can improve validity of convictions. Another essential remedy is to raise the standard of defendants' legal counsel. Fair trials could be ensured by increasing funding for public defender offices and putting in place training courses for attorneys who handle capital cases. Studies show that the probability of wrongful convictions is much reduced when defendants receive effective legal counsel. The current system's socioeconomic prejudices would be lessened if everyone had equal access to high-quality defense. Additionally, the appeals process must be reformed. Simplifying processes to concentrate on significant assertions of fresh evidence or constitutional infractions, rather than technicalities, can aid in striking a balance between the necessity of a comprehensive review and efficiency. A more focused strategy to appeals, according to some legal experts, could preserve justice while lessening the financial burden on the legal system. A more comprehensive approach would be to reconsider the death penalty's use in general. The death penalty has been abolished in several countries in favor of life in prison without the possibility of parole, which accomplishes the same objective of maintaining public safety without the permanent effects of execution. According to the 2015 analysis by authors Hood and Hoyle in the International Journal of Human Rights, abolitionist nations frequently see no significant rise in violent crime rates after abolition, suggesting that other forms of punishment can be just as successful. Public perception can also be significantly shaped by education and awareness-raising initiatives. According to the 2007 analysis by authors Unever and Cullen in the Journal of Social Issues, public support for the death sentence decreases when individuals are informed about the dangers of wrongful convictions and the racial inequalities that come with its implementation. In conclusion, the death penalty remains one of the most contentious and intricate topics in modern criminal justice. Its issues, which stem from racial and socioeconomic inequalities, wrongful convictions, and questionable deterrence value, highlight the necessity of thorough reform. Better legal representation, enhanced evidence protocols, and educational initiatives to change public opinion are all necessary to address these problems. Alternative solutions like life in prison without the possibility of parole, when weighed against the moral and practical ramifications, provide a way ahead that guarantees justice without the permanent effects of execution. Societies can strive toward a more just and compassionate criminal justice system by comprehending and resolving the structural issues that lead to these problems.